Hi there, Andrew here, wishing you well. Short video on Yin Deficiency. We'll go over, what it is, how can we recognize it, what to do about it, and some of the implications of how you can tell if it's showing up in your body, in your mind, and learn to recognize it. So I want you to imagine a scenario. So I used to live out on an acreage, a rural property where we had a well. That's where we got our water from. And I remember this one summer, this was late August, and the forest was bone dry. It was hot. The fire ban and alert was on, like high alert. And our well also was getting lower and lower and lower, so low that the pump at the bottom of the well was just submerged, so we could barely pull water. So there was a feeling where everywhere you look, if you just flicked a cigarette, the forest is on fire. And at the same time, we had a well that didn't have enough water to put out the fire. So this creates this eerie fear within the system, right? And this is a very similar sensation to having a yin deficiency in the body. So our yin system essentially is our cooling, calming, stillness reservoir within our being, right? And when that well starts to get drained down, there is this eerie heat, subtle fear and anxious quality and inflamed quality in the mind and in the emotions that starts to arise. There's a feeling that things aren't right. Something could go bad, and it starts to bubble up through the system. So how does this happen? How does yin deficiency happen? So if we're looking at the nervous system, essentially we have these, it's much more complex than this, but we have a parasympathetic and a sympathetic tone within our system. So a sympathetic tone is this more action-oriented, the fire's turned on, and this more parasympathetic state is this state of, often called rest and digest, of this calming system. Now, in the internal arts, in Chinese medicine and Qigong, how my teachers have passed it on to me is yin is a substance that builds drop by drop, like a well. A well slowly starts to trickle in and fill. And this substance is a substance of stillness within the body and the system. So we can find this, we can go plunk ourselves down in the woods and sit, and drop by drop, this parasympathetic stillness will start to build, and it's often linked to the kidneys. It'll build in the body. We can learn some skillful meditation. We can go to, say, a yin yoga class, practice some qigong. All these different things can start to build the reservoir, right? But we're in this weird time now where lots and lots, myself included, lots of people, when we have moments of the time and the space to drop into this, accumulating this substance of stillness, what do? I pull up my phone and then I'm scrolling away. I'm taking this moment where I can down regulate and start to build the yin substance. I'm now hyper stimulating my senses, the nerves, the mind. Even though I'm still in the body, I've taken that time to build the well, and I've handed it over to more stimulus. So, this building of the well, this building of the yin substance can happen very naturally, right? You can develop skills to do it, but often the body knows what it's doing, the systems knows what it's doing, but we've taken away the opportunity in that time, and we've replaced it with more action, more mental action, more stimulus through the senses. So that's one of the big ones. There's also a few specific type of people that I see come into sessions and stuff that can have this yin deficiency. Often people with addictions where they're hooked on a substance One part of them is trying to quit the substance. Another part of them is trying to attain the substance. They're fighting against themselves, and there's this burn and this friction that shows up. That can be deplete the well. Another one can be women post-birth and breastfeeding. That's a huge energy draw through the body that can create yin deficiency systems. I've seen it, interestingly enough, in fighters, really potent athletes, especially fighters who have to cut weight and like pull all the water out of their body to make a weight for a fight and then rehydrate. That's huge on the system. That can drain the yin. And people, very hard jobs where they're tuned in all the time, don't get moments of rest. Things like this can often create these yin deficient symptoms. So how can we see this in the body? How does it show up? Often it shows up as an interesting quality of heat inside the body, where it can be like a dry heat, internal heat system, where the heat starts to rise and there's this lots of action up in the head. Excessive thinking, can be hard to sleep. There can be inflamed systems through the body, like the joints are hot and they're inflamed, things like this. There can be this agitation, like an anxious, shaky agitation type quality when the yin is missing. The also signs with the kidneys, you can get the dark bags under your eyes. That can be another symptom. Very lethargic at times, where you go into action, crash into, you pass out. Ups and downs like this can also be symptoms. So what do we do about this? The main thing is to give yourself actual time to do nothing. Nothing. And nothing doesn't mean on the couch scrolling, but nothing. Plunk yourself down in the forest, plunk yourself down on the couch, even read a book, something where there's not much stimulation coming into the system and it can shift over. Super important. Another one would be to practice these skills of stillness, working different meditation techniques, different breathing techniques to start building the skill of down regulating and into these states of stillness. I've seen for most people, especially if they're even skillful practitioners, this shift still takes time, at least 5 minutes to shift the nervous system over. For myself, sometimes it takes up to 15 minutes, and then a whole bunch of yawns, some tears fall out. Ooh, I've shifted in. And to learn to stay in this yin state and not rush out of it. So I see this a lot in classes where, say teaching a yoga class, we have our nap at the end and I go, all right, everyone have a good day. And people will literally almost jump up out of their yoga mat and hit the door and head out. Instead of, okay, we're in this yin substance. Let's slow it down. Take your time. Don't have to rush out of the calm, rush out of the lower friction, right? That lower static, just that easy moment, extend it out, right? Carry it through. So some things to think about. Yin deficiency is very common. It's a lot of people are in it. I think we're very overstimulated culture, hyper connected, hyper informed, all these things. There's a price to pay for that. So carve out times for stillness and silence and solo. Build the yin. Very important. So any questions, fire them at me. Happy to help. Wishing you well.